What's going on, everybody? LK here, and today, before we go back to all those training drills and stuff, I wanted to talk about a general fighting game concept called risk return. It shouldn't be, if you hear it, it shouldn't be that complicated. It's more about how it actually applies to the game. So, I picked Dragon Ball. Again, this is a universal fighting game concept, so I picked Dragon Ball because I feel like risk return in this game is kind of more evenly spread out, and there's one thing specifically that probably isn't what you think it is as far as, let's say, the reward versus the risk, right? So, to start, I have Vegeta out here. So, he has a DP, and he has two types of DPs. He has a head invul DP, which, as you know, beats jump attacks. And he has a full invincible DP. So, fully invincible moves are a really big example of extreme risk return because the risk is high, but the return is you get out. Numbers-wise, it's not amazing. Like, you're usually not doing that much damage off DPs with some small exceptions. Some small exceptions, but the implicit reward is it gets you out of the situation and it turns you... It gets you out of the situation and it turns around what's happening. Like, you knock them down, you get offense from being attacked. The risk being, if they wait for it, of course, you die. Now, of course, this is an extreme example. Most moves in the game, so what a normal person would tell you is that, let's say, jabs are fast and they recover quickly, so the risk is low, but the return is low. Medium moves, medium speed, medium range, medium recovery. The risk is a little more, because they're longer, but the return is higher. And the heavy moves are the slowest and the biggest, but the return should be the highest. But in Dragon Ball, it's not that black and white. Since the different moves have different starters for the combos. So, oddly enough, your medium attacks and your heavy attacks are both good starters, are both equally good starters. So starting with either of them are equally good return. And for the most part too, a lot of characters don't have that much recovery on moves in general. It's just that the main difference between them, besides maybe special properties like crouching heavy, is that this move is safe on block, but this one is not unless you special cancel it. If you're talking about the jabs, your light attacks, yeah, they're fast, but as opposed to, there are some fighting games where you never get combos off your jabs, ever. Or it's hard to get a combo off a jab. But in Dragon Ball, you get a full combo off a jab. It just does less damage than other combos. You get a full combo, about 30%. So what's that say? So basically, the risk return in this game is actually much more evenly spread out than you think. This is a mildly common trend in anime games where the risk return is, let's say, even across the board, so it's hard to judge, since everything, you can simplify it in a way that you get a combo off everything, so everything has decently high return. Now, the thing that has a really odd risk return is actually Reflect. I talked about this in another video where I think Reflect is incredibly strong, stronger than people give it credit for. And one of the points about it is that, so there is risk attached to it, of course, because if you get baited, it's just like UDP'd, right? So it's just like you did an it is actually an invincible reversal, but if you whiff, you're going to take a full combo punish, usually a medium starter, which is really extreme. But the thing about it is, the things it defends against are more than Dragon Punches. Because Dragon Punches are invincible, these are invincible too, but you have situations where, for example, so in a situation like that, you can't Dragon Punch them, but you can reflect them. So there are, not only do you have that, but again, you don't have to guess high-low on it. So despite the risk being high, the only reason the risk is truly high is because if it whiffs, you die. But the return is incredibly high, and the game doesn't count it as your follow-up, as a reversal. Like a DP. Like, if I hit this DP... So... It's all like a bullshit combo, but... if you hit with a fully invincible move... I probably should do that, right? If you hit it with a fully invincible move as your combo starter... then all the life is blue life, recoverable life. But when you reflect someone successfully, that's not the case. Now, there are other games where you have to examine risk return more in depth. Dragon Ball has a kind of universal risk return, where it's just like, you know, your short moves have low risk, but the return is good. Your medium heavy moves have medium risk. Just from, because if you whiff, you know, you might get punished, but the return is really good. Super Dash has a pretty direct risk. If they sit there and anti-air it, they're taking a really big combo, but if not, then you get in, you get to call your assist, blah blah blah. Everything is like, the return is very evenly spread out in this game, and the only difference is the difference in risk of the actions. In other fighting games, like take Guilty Gear, which I do not have one right now, the really common example would be to like a move like this, you might not get a combo off of Guilty Gear. Not all characters get combos off moves like this, so even if the poke is really good and low or medium risk, the return might not actually be good, because they might not get a combo off it. You might not get significant damage. So in a game like that, a character that can combo off many starters has significantly, consistently higher return compared to characters that can't do it, and that discrepancy exists. The reason why you care about these things is because it affects your judgment, like what you want to actually do. So let's create a situation. Let's give Vegeta a meter first so he can do it. 3 bars. So he's not really doing a setup here. This is just for the sake of example. So one thing about Dragon Ball is that there are a lot of very clear-cut design situations where the defender has to make a choice and the attacker has to make a choice. There's different amounts of advantage. Like here, Vegeta is clearly advantage, but I, the defender, Bardock, have options. Like I have stuff I can do. So the reason why risk return matters, one of the reasons why it matters is in a situation like this, you have to make a direct choice. Do you want to take a risk? Do you want to take a chance to take a mix-up? Do you want to gamble on reflect or reversal or something, depending on how you built out the situation? When you have the actual numbers, like understanding the risk versus the return of things, for example, Vegeta has no meter here. So let's make this even better. Actually, let's kill off these other 2 characters. Let's say Vegeta is alone. So here, there's a timeline where I take a gamble on, let's say, like a 2H, just for the sake of example. I take a gamble on that 2H just because, 1, he has no other characters, 2, he has no meter, so I know that even if I'm wrong, the only way he can kill me is with Spark, the Spark he has available. So sometimes I'm like, oh, well, you know what, like, it's worth it. Or I might, another thing you might consider is same situation. Vanish is way strong. So Vanish is like decent risk. Usually they could counter Vanish you. They might be in a situation where they can hit you out of your Vanish. And the return is actually not that high. Like the return is actually low for Vanish. The main reason people use it is that the risk is usually, let's say, I don't want to say mitigated, but just lessened, because if you do a Vanish while they're doing something, the only thing they could counter you with is Vanish. In this case, he has no meter, so the risk of doing Vanish is much less. Like, he actually has to not do anything to stop me from vanishing. So Vanish is also on the table. Now on the flip side, the attacking player can think of the same thing, like, oh, Of course, doing a reversal level 3 after getting knocked down by level 3 is quite risky. It's quite risky. You know, they could safe jump you or something, but if you hit them, it's good. You do 50% right away. They get knocked down. They probably have to spark. Level 3 is on the table, but you understand it's high risk. You know there's stuff like Reflect. They have Reflect available. They might wait for your guard cancel. As an attacking player, you could weigh out their options too and be like, alright, I think that the best way for me to cover these options while maybe going for a mix-up or just establishing my presence, not trying to let them to escape, would be to pick X, Y, or Z. It goes into neutral as well. Like, if you, let's say we set 2 recordings around Super Dash. Okay. So if I never hit Super Dash ever, if all I do is block Super Dash, I know it's not random, but if all I do is block Super Dashes and I never hit them, then my opponent would feel way better about Super Dashing at me. The Super Dash risk return is pretty, I don't want to say extreme, but there's at least one clear counter per character. Every character can definitely 2H. Other characters have extra options, like Bardock has air level 3, and he could just hit it if you're that nice. You just hit it. You just hit it. But generally, there's 2 clear counters the game gives you, and 1 every character has. But if you never hit this Super Dash, there's not really risk attached to it. There's only reward. Like, he gets a Super Dash, he gets to call his assists, and I'm definitely going to have him call Gohan here, for the sake of this example. So he gets to call his assists. He gets offense. If I'm on the ground, then I'm gonna block stun right away. If I get hit, then cool, he gets a combo. It's pretty clear for him. There's no risk if I never hit it. If you show them, though, that you are hitting this every single time, or at least the majority of the time, then they will be way less inclined, as the random computer is, to Super Dash at you. Because you're too consistent. So, that's it for risk return. There's one more idea attached to this that I'll talk about in a later video, but for now, thanks for watching. If you have any additional questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you next time.